So yeah, I just built my own video player. Why? Honestly, I don't know. I thought it was going to be a nice project to tackle, an easy one for sure, but it turns out building something like a video player is actually very hard. Even for me, and I'm not even a JavaScript developer, guys, so that means I can actually do it. I can still believe I went from having something like this, which is basically a program that churns out video frames as fast as possible, to having a minimal video player that supports basic synchronization. As you can see from the playback, it's still a bit glitchy, but it kind of works. To finally having a video player that supports features like pausing and seeking up to 30 seconds, along with synchronization between audio and video. So in order to build this, I use tools like FFmpeg, which is a multimedia framework that supports things like decoding, transcoding, encoding, muxing, demuxing, filtering, streaming. Basically, it can do it all. So in terms of programming languages, I wanted to write this in Go because at the time I wanted to get better at Go. However, I could not find any libraries that could work well with the latest version of Go or could work well for my use case. I think the closest I got was this other library called GoAV, which is no longer being maintained. It's written in C Go and it's basically calling the C functions from FFmpeg. So I was like, let me just write this in C instead. The problem was I didn't know C. So I watched a quick fire shape video to get the gist of how everything works. I ended up getting how C works, but I have to say this. Whenever I'm coding in C, I feel like a JavaScript developer because I feel like I don't know anything at all. I mean, like, C is a crazy language, guys. It has no classes, it has no garbage collecting system. All you're doing in C is playing around with memory and hoping that you don't get a sick fault. I mean, my C game still sucks, right? But at the end of the day, I still get to tell people that I can code in C, which is a win in my books. Before I explain how I actually built out the video player, I feel like I need to explain this other important aspect about videos, which helped me to conceptualize how video players actually work and ultimately enabled me to build this thing out. So in order to aid my explanation, I'm going to make use of this beautiful model that I made in Blender that not only took an excruciating amount of time out of my young life that I could have used to do whatever it is that these young people do these days, but took an additional week, guys, a week just to render 15 frames of animation. That is crazy. So an important concept to know about videos and multimedia in general is that videos are simply containers that hold different kinds of encoded streams. Think of streams as data that is found in the containers. This includes stuff like the video itself, the audio stream, subtitle stream, and other useful metadata in the container, like the location of where the video was taken or the person who shot the video. So now onto the fun stuff. In order to actually build out the video player, I set aside 3 steps, which include demuxing, decoding, and synchronization. In demuxing, I basically extracted the streams that were found in the video container that for now are only limited to audio and video so that I can handle them separately. After getting the streams, the next step was decoding, where I basically transform the packets found in the streams into useful frames using a codec. Think of a codec as a mechanism for compressing and decompressing data. For example, if we were working with a video stream from an MP4 container, we'd use something like a .h264 codec in order to transform the packets into frames. So frames are the actual stuff that we run our workflows on. So if we were building an editing software, would actually edit on the frames and not on the packets. After getting the frames, the next step was super simple, which was displaying them on some kind of presentation layer. In my case, I use this other library called SDL, which provides low-level access to I/O stuff like audio, your keyboard, mouse, your graphics hardware via OpenGL, Direct3D. I'm not sure if it supports stuff like Vulkan, but I'm pretty sure it does. After this, I sort of had a working video player. I was super elated and I could have stopped there. But as you can see from the playback, there's still no synchronization. So that brought me to my last synchronization. So after researching a ton about synchronization and consulting my principal software engineer, aka aka ChatGPT, I realized that synchronization is actually very crazy and tricky to think about and also to implement. A cool implementation I read about was implementing some kind of clock system that ticks at a certain rate and syncing the rate at which your frames are being shown to that tick rate, which kind of results in near perfect synchronization. I wanted to go with this approach, but I was like, I'm kind of getting bored with the video player and I want to finish this project. So I went with an easier approach. That approach was syncing audio to video. In order to do this, I firstly needed to find the rate at which to show the video frames on the screen. This rate is typically referred to as the FPS. Since I was working in FFmpeg, it doesn't really have the concept of FPSs, but uses these things called the presentation timestamps and destination timestamps, which have a lot of math behind the scenes, guys. I'm not a math guy, so I'm just going to stick to the concept of FPSs in order to explain this. So after getting the FPS and applying the same concept to the audio frames, the video player was working perfectly. And surprisingly, I don't have to debug, consult ChatGPT, research, or do all the stuff that normal engineers do. And that would have only been possible if it was this guy, the founder of VLC. This guy's got it, guys. Shout out. Jokes aside, I actually encountered a bunch of errors, mainly around thread synchronization and the way I was queuing my frames. So I found out that there's actually different types of video frames and the order in which you queue them matters. So after doing a bunch of research, I eventually solved all those errors. And at this point, I was like, let me add some features. I chose to add 2 features because I was like, I'm bored with the video player and I just want to get done with. I chose to add pausing, which simply freezes all the threads in the program and is totally safe, guys. Trust me. And the last feature was super simple, seeking, which basically allows users to seek 60 seconds or 10 seconds in the video. Is the video I created perfect? No, not at all. It's actually very work. Out of the box, it doesn't even have the most basic features that I expected of a video player, or even the most basic video player. So it's actually very bad. It crashes from time to time, and it doesn't even support like most basic video formats. So it's very work. But at the end of the day, I created a video player that kind of works, and in doing so, I learned a lot. So you guys can check out the repo on my GitHub and probably improve it, fix it, or learn something from my C game, which is still work, by the way. In closing, thank you, and I'm going to awkwardly close the camera right now and also the video. Bye.